Hey there, all you cool cats and kittens. Mr. Munoz from your ELA class here. And if you don't get that reference, well, then that's probably for the best. Quite it. Alrighty, so this is go ahead and get into it. I told you all that from this point forward, I would be uploading different conversations about a Midsummer Night's Dream rather than having live streams. While that does not seem preferential, it's okay. We'll still make it happen. This is hopefully something you can all tune into on your own time and on your free time to serve as kind of a more of a support than anything else. All right. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I took the liberties of just going through the text, kind of reading through again, looking things out, kind of asking myself like I normally do, as I always do, what is it that I want to focus on today? What is it that I want to highlight today? Well, what I did was I went through, all right, I literally was highlighting different passages. I was taking notes on different sections, things like that. So the hope and the goal here is that you can hopefully get a better understanding of what you've been reading and therefore hopefully a better appreciation of what you've been reading. Well, before anything else, what we are talking about today is Act 3, Scene 1 of A Midsummer Night's Dream. We're almost halfway there, folks. I'm fired up. I hope you are fired up as well, okay? Today, in Act 3, Scene 1, we are reintroduced to, drumroll, the Craftsmen. I'm super excited about it because they have made their re-entrance. They are finally back with us now. And these guys are lunatics. The boys are back in town, like Thin Lizzy's 100% awesome song. If you've never heard The Boys Are Back in Town, go listen to it. Thin Lizzy, check it out. All right, so here we go. Just starting off, all right? If you have read Act 3, Scene 1, which you all have, you know that once again, right from the very start, we have these craftsmen who are reunited, who are now together. And we encounter the fear of these actors, the fear that they are going to scare the ladies in the audience. Oh my goodness, come on, man, what are you doing? What are you talking about, right? They're over here freaking out again. What if this is too scary? What if we're going to scare these people for this reason whatsoever, whatever? All right, well, let's go ahead and break that down for a little bit. Sorry, I'm trying to readjust my camera so that I can do this a little bit more easily. There we go. That's a lot better. Oh my goodness, look at that. Wow, look at this guy. All right, let's check it out. Go LA. So once again, we encounter the fear of the actors. Their fear that they're going to scare the lady and the audience. And who is the person to bring up this issue again? Well, who else but the ringleader, Nick Bottom. So we see Nick Bottom making his appearance again. Once again, he hasn't changed all too much from when we last saw him. Let's go ahead and analyze that a little bit more, though. All right, Bottom explains that Pyramus must take out a sword to kill himself, which would most certainly frighten the ladies in the play. Now, he kind of has a point, maybe. Who knows? We'd have to look and see how the rest of his squad reacts to what he's trying to say. All right, let's go ahead and take a look into the text. All right, we're going to go ahead and open up to Act 3, Scene 1, which we start by bringing up this point. All right. So, Bottom says, first of all, Pyramus has to take out a sword. Oh, sorry, that's the translation. My apologies. He says, there are things in this comedy of Pyramus and Thisbe that will never please. First, Pyramus must draw a sword to kill himself, which the ladies cannot abide. How answer you that? AKA, gentlemen, what are we going to do about this problem that we are faced with? Snout, Barry Lakin, a perilous fear, which basically says, oh man, you're kind of got a point there. Maybe that's something we should be concerned about, right? Starveling, I believe we must leave the killing out when all is done, aka maybe we should take that whole part out. But Bottom isn't having it because he's trying to say, not a whit. Are you crazy? This is part of the play. I have a device to make all well. Wow, look at this guy. Here he comes with all the answers. Write me a prologue and let the prologue seem to say we will do no harm with our swords and that Pyramus is not killed indeed. And for the more better assurance, tell them that I, Pyramus, am not Pyramus. Okay, but Bottom the Weaver. This will put them out of fear. Oh my goodness, look at this guy. What a clever guy. Right? What if we just, listen, just hear me out. What if we just tell them that I'm not actually going to hurt anybody? Also, that I don't actually die. And not only that, just in case they're second guessing or they're confused, that I'm not actually Pyramus, but I'm Nick Bottom. Wow. Look at that. I swear, How this man has not won Best Actor at the Academy Awards yet, I don't know. But imagine that. Imagine if you were sitting down and you turned on your favorite movie. And then during a scene where there's some kind of danger going down, the movie stops, the actor looks dead at the screen and says, by the way, just so that you know, I'm actually an actor. This is just a scene that I'm playing. And I need you to know that I'm not actually going to die in real life, okay? I'm actually, Mr. Blah, 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 right? Imagine if you were watching something live and that's one of the ways that these people decide that they want to make things clear to you. All right, well, just keep that perspective in mind because we are just getting started here, folks. Go ahead, let's move on. All right, so I'm sorry, I'm juggling between notes and highlights and everything, and it's very, very difficult. Right, well, thankfully, we have Nick Bottom jumping into the role, and I want you all to know that you do not fear. Nick Bottom is here. His solution, create a prologue to explain that they won't actually hurt anyone with the sword, and no one actually dies, and that he is actually just Bottom the Weaver. We just went over that, but I feel like I have to say it again for dramatic effect. Moving on. Well, the leader of the dimwits, as I like to call him, gets the rest of the actors to agree with his idea, so there's that. Right? Not a single person putting up a protest, everyone applauding him for how smart and intellectual of a man he is. However, while this is great and we seem to have solved one of the problems, this is not the only fear we encounter. There's the lion, right? To which Snout brings up the point of, will not the ladies be afeared of the lion? Starveling says, I fear it, I promise you. Bottom, masters, you ought to consider with yourselves to bring in, God shield us, a lion among ladies is the most dreadful thing, for there's not a more fearful wildfowl than your lion living, and we ought to look to it. All right, so I think we're acknowledging that this can be a potential problem, I guess. Snout, therefore, another prologue must tell he is not a lion. They're trying to take Nick Bottom's idea and say, well, Nick, if you have this, we're not going to call him Nick, that's too respectful. Bottom, if you have this idea and you're saying that you're going to create a prologue to show that Pyramus isn't actually real, but it's you and that you're safe and yada, 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 shouldn't we just do the same thing about the lion? To which Bottom says, nay, which we all learned when we went over Shakespearean vocabulary, that nay means no. Right? This is his solution. I'll go ahead and go over the notes first, and then we'll go into the text itself. Right? Do not fear, folks. Nick Bottom is here. It's simple. Just explain yourself. Tell them you are Snug the Joiner, who is the person playing the lion. Right? And Bottom draws out and says, nay, you must name his name, and half his face must be seen through the lion's neck. Not only that, they should be able to see you and who you actually are in your face. And he himself must speak through, saying thus, or to the same defect. That's my favorite part. To the same defect, not the same effect, the same defect, right? Not to the same kind of idea, but to the same opposite idea, because this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Whatever, that's my own personal opinion. That's just a little bit play on words, folks. Ladies, or fair ladies, if you want to be a little bit more respectful in the 1500s, I would wish you, or I would request you, right? Multiple ways to get these people's attention. Or I would even entreat you. Oh, thank you so much, Nick Bottom. You have such a way with words, you loser. Not to fear. I'm just joking. That's so mean. Not to fear, not to tremble. My life for yours. If you think I come hither as a lion, it were pity of my life. No, I am no such thing. I am a man as other men are. And there indeed, let him name his name and tell them plainly he is Snug the Joiner. Listen, ladies, I'm just a guy like any other guy, and there's no reason to be afraid because I am telling you that we're all said and good. Wow. 2 for 2. He's batting 1,000 for Nick Bottom. All right, let's move on. So these dimwits of his, this crew of actors, the craftsmen, have decided that this is a good way to go about it, and they 100% agree with what this person is saying. Thank goodness, right? No opposition. But let's go ahead and move on. But here comes, oh no, another problem. But don't fear, folks. Nick Bottom is here to save the day. The actors don't have moonlight. They need moonlight. Or else the play is all for naught, because in the play, it's supposed to be taken during a time of moonlight. Well, thankfully, Bottom has the breakthrough idea. And what is his idea? Got to turn the page here. A calendar. Look in the almanac. Find out moonshine. right? Look in the calendar. Will there be moonlight that night? Yes. Oh, thank goodness. Oh my God. Right? He figured it out. He has the idea. Thankfully, we have calendars, folks, and they tell us what days there are. And not only that, sometimes there are other things associated with it, and it helps us understand whether or not we have the things that we need or we don't, which in this case is moonlight for these guys. Thankfully, they figured it out. They got it all under control. However, there was two problems that were going to be brought up. One was the moonlight, and now the second one, probably the biggest problem of all, probably the most controversial dilemma we have faced so far. But don't fear. Nick Bottom is here, okay? There's no wall. They need a wall because Pyramus and Thisbe talk through a wall. They have a minor conversation through a wall. And they can't possibly fix this problem, can they? What are they supposed to do? Build an entire wall in a handful of days to bring in their own wall? What are they going to do? Thankfully, they have Nick Bottom. Now, this is the best part. Now defaults to Bottom. And he literally asks, sorry, let me go ahead and get to my text. Oh, sorry, skip the page. You can never bring in a wall. What say you, Bottom? He's asking for his advice because clearly this man is 3 for 3. He's batting 1,000. He's on his way to the Hall of Fame with great ideas. Bottom. Some man or other must present wall, and let him have some plaster or some loam or some rough cast about him to signify wall, and let him fold his fingers thus, and through that cranny shall Pyramus and Thisbe whisper. Don't worry, guys. I got it under control. It's simple. Listen, it's simple, really. All you have to do is play a wall. One of you just take on the role of playing a wall, and then in between one part of your body, we can have it so that these actors can have the conversation. Problem fixed. Wow. Round of applause, folks. Just genius. 4 for 4. When there's a problem, we all just need a Nick Bottom in our life to help us figure them out, right? Whenever there's a problem, we just need a Nick Bottom to help us figure it out. All righty, folks. That brings us into that. They have fixed all their problems. Now it's time to start rehearsing. Well, the rehearsal starts, and unfortunately, it does not go so well. There are people mispronouncing lines. There are people not knowing what to do. There are people giving too much information. There are people who are just not taking these roles the way that they're supposed to be taken. Thankfully, we have an audience to help us be a critique in this, and that person is Puck, otherwise known as Robin Goodfellow, who joins in and has himself a little bit of a side, right? You should all know what a side is. He's talking to himself as he watches this go down, to which he says, and this is probably one of my favorite parts, and I'll read you the translation because it makes it that much more fun. He asks himself, what hempen homespuns have we swaggering here, so near the cradle of the fairy queen? What, a play toward? I'll be an auditor, an actor too, perhaps, if I see cause. And I want to read you the translation because it's probably one of the best things ever. Who are these country bumpkins swaggering around so close to where the fairy queen is sleeping? What? Are they about to put on a play? I'll watch, and I'll act in it too if I feel like it. Ooh, premonitions, folks. We got some foreshadowing going on. Let's see what happens next. So they have this play. Things don't necessarily go so well. They're having a really tough time. Robin's watching all of this go down. And by Robin, I don't mean Robin Starveling. I mean Puck, otherwise known as Robin Goodfellow. All this is going on. They're having a really tough time, to which Robin Goodfellow says, I've had enough of this. So what does he do? Well, as we already all know, he turns Nick Bottom's head into that of a donkey head. Right? That is his solution to what he's seeing, and he feels is a good reflection of what he has seen so far. Okay? So there's this scene, enter Bottom with an ass's head and Robin. So Robin Goodfellow decides to join him in this situation. Quince. Oh, monstrous. Oh, strange. We are haunted. Pray, masters, fly. Masters, help. Exit. Quince, Flute, Snug, Snout, and Starveling. Basically every single one of the craftsmen. Robin. I'll follow you. I'll lead you about around through bog, through brush, through brake, through briar. Sometimes a horse I'll be, sometimes a hound, a hog, a headless bear, sometimes a fire, and neigh and bark and grunt and roar and burn, like horse, hound, hog, bear, fire at every turn. Robin exits. It's kind of his like proclamation to the fact that he's going to have an active role in the situation. Now, bottom. Why do they run away? This is a knavery of them to make me afeared. Modern translation. Why are they running away? This is some joke of theirs to scare me. Enter Snell, right? One of the few in the Braves to come back and to talk to Bottom after he looks like a donkey now. Snell enters. Oh, Bottom, thou art changed. What do I see on thee? What do you see? You see an ass head of your own, do you? Exit Snell. And this is probably one of the best lines that I've come across. I think it's one of my favorites. And that's when Bottom says, what do you see? You see an ass head of your own, do you? Bottom. This is the translation in case you were kind of wondering. What is he trying to get across there? Snout says, oh, Bottom, you've changed. What have you got on your head? And Bottom says, what do you think I've got on my head? You're acting like an ass, don't you think? Well, folks, that's irony. He's over here labeling this guy as being some kind of ridiculous fool and calling him an ass when, truth be told, who's the one who literally looks like a donkey, right? Feels bad, but it's just one of those things. Okay. At this point, we have Bottom now being attended to because what eventually happens? Titania wakes up, to which he says, what angel wakes me from my flowery bed? And that's one of the best parts because usually when you look at a man with a donkey's head, that's not necessarily the first thought in your brain. But he eventually gets her attention because, well, as we already all know, she has fallen under the spell of love potion as concocted by Mr. Oberon himself. Okay, right? At this point, it becomes a situation where he is given full control of Titania's fairies, not because he is putting them for himself, but because she has voluntarily offered them to him and he has taken on and asked them about themselves, right? Which is eventually where we find ourselves, right? So I'm just flipping through, trying to see if there's anything else I need to highlight here. Titania, be kind and courteous to this gentleman, hop in his walks and gamble in his eyes, feed him with apricots and dewberries, purple grapes, green figs, and mulberries. The honey bags steal from the humble bees, and for night tapers crop their waxen thighs, and light them at the fiery glowworm's eyes, to have my love to bed and to arise, and pluck the wings from painted butterflies, to fan the moonbeams for his sleeping eyes, nod to him elves and do him courtesies, aka do whatever this person asks of you because he has my love, all right, whether it's this or that or this or that, please make sure he's attended to appropriately. That's all I ask of you. To which Peas Blossom say, hail mortal cobweb, hail moth, hail mustard seed, hail. Not a single bit of disrespect or non-compliance. Bottom, I cry your worship's mercy heartily. I beseech your worshipper's name. Cobweb, he starts asking all these folks about who they are. They say that who they are, and he is very respectful, and he now becomes part of the magical point of the story. Okay, here we see more of a development of Nick Bottom himself. We see more of the knavish and mischievous acts of Robin Goodfellow, not because of any gain, just because he feels that it's something that he wants to do. We now see the action of Titania being held under her spell and relinquishing full control because she is under the spell of love, right? And so I want us to keep in mind what that means, right? I mostly want to focus on this character of Nick Bottom and this whole aura that Shakespeare creates with having him turn into a donkey, which, as we all know, goes hand in hand and synonymously with an ass. And the reason I highlighted those 4 problem solutions is because I wanted to give context to the fact of how absolutely ridiculous this person actually is, as regardless as these guys that he hangs out with seem like he's some kind of breakthrough artist and the next, genius of our world. That's not necessarily the case, right? Rather, this is somebody who's trying to come up with these dim-witted solutions that, to us, when you really think about it in the grand scheme of things, they seem like unrealistic problems. And not only that, like very, very, very ridiculous solutions. So I wanted to make sure that I can bring that to life to you all. I hope that that's something that you were able to catch while you were reading. All right, I'll go ahead and tune in to you all. Sorry, let me reverse that. I messed that up. I'm not tuning into anything of yours. I hope that you can all tune into this video not only today on Tuesday, but I also look forward to making another one on Thursday on Act 3, Scene 2. All right, so please make sure that you're taking the time to watch this. I'll try to keep these comfortably short. I'm trying to highlight and make sure I go through the things that need talking through so that I can make your time effective and so that this can serve as a fantastic support. All right, folks, I think that's all I have here. I think I've said everything I need to say. Always feel free to reach out. I look forward to getting in touch with you. If you ever need anything from me, make sure that you go ahead and email me, do whatever you got to do. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Do not forget to like this video. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications whenever I upload something. All right, classes, take care, be well, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye now.